Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Books and Bush Tea. I am your host, Aniki, and we are going to have a really fun conversation today. Now, we have been talking about what we're doing for the month of February, which is going to be focused on romance and on love and on relationships, because, of course, we have Valentine's Day coming up. And we're also super excited to have our partners join us for the first time. We have Vi's Closet supporting Books and Bush Tea this month, and that's super exciting. I actually went in there this week to do my Valentine shopping. They have something for everyone. You know, they used to focus only on the underpinnings for ladies, but now there's a lot there for gentlemen. They've got a huge gift section at the front that is perfect for Valentine's, and of course, you know, there's also the naughty corner, which I really like. But we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I wanted to touch base first on our week's reading. So last week, you'll remember that Christy and Samantha, Samantha's sister, Lord God, Christy and Michelle came on to talk about illustrations, and we had a really good time talking about art and the life of an artist and illustrations of children's books in particular. But Christy gave me a recommendation, and Lord have mercy, that should have come with a trigger warning. I started reading Lessons in Chemistry. It is excellent, but I have to warn anyone who picks up that book on our recommendation, there is a little bit of an assault at the beginning that you're going to want to brace yourself for, or just at least be aware of it, so that when you get in there, you know it's coming. I messaged Christy today and I was like, girl, you should have told me. I'm here reading this in the parking lot of Foster's and like, oh my goodness, what is this? This is too much for me. But it's really good. But just an update on what we're reading over here at Books and Bush Tea right now. Our couple reading is going really well. We struggled a little bit with the Atlantis Gene, which is the book that my partner and I started. You know, we were encouraging couples reading for this month. This is a really good way to spend time together for your Valentines. Our couple reading, our first book this year was Project Hail Mary, and we loved it. And I think that made it really hard to transition to the next book, which has been The Atlantis Gene. And it's the first in a 3-part series that I started to read before, but didn't really get into because I needed someone to read it with. It was so fast paced, and I just need someone to hold my hand. So I took this opportunity with my partner, and we're actually spending time together reading this together. I'm also in a nonfiction book, which is, remember, one of my goals for the year is to do a lot more nonfiction, come out of my standard genres and into particularly some of the social justice type work. And I'm reading A People's History of the United States. I'm still in it. And I think I'm in a chapter right now called The Intimately Oppressed. And it is blowing my mind. That book is blowing my mind. I'm reading it with a pencil. And I actually have to go and buy some Post-its today because I can annotate this, but I want to actually be able to find my notes. I also got stuck in my fiction book this month. I've been reading The Atlas Complex, which is a third in a series that's kind of like dark academia, a little bit odd. It's a tough one for me. I really love the first and the second book, but I'm having a hard time with that last one. And I actually misplaced it. So I'm probably going to have to go and buy another copy of it at some point. So that's one of the ones that are going, that are still going. And I'm actually going to find a way to finish that book. But I've also finished my bedtime reading, which of course, I always do my rereads at night. If I know something's going to happen, it's not going to keep me up at night. I do my rereading at night. And so I fall asleep to like a same kind of like circle of books. And I finished the Nora Roberts Dragon Heart series already. So clearly, I listen a lot before I go to sleep. So in the month of January, I read 3 of Nora Roberts' books only at bedtime. And now I am into my favorite book. This has been a favorite for the last couple of years, and it is Between by L.L. Starling. I have read this book no less than 10 times, and I probably can recite it to you by heart, but I have to like pick it up and fall asleep to it. It's one of the nicest worlds I've ever read, where like there's this really funny kid in it, and everything he says just cracks you up. And then they have 2 separate worlds in it, and they're interacting with each other, and there's like a thin veil in between. It is so funny. It's such a funny book, and it's there's not enough tension in it for it to like stop me from falling asleep. So it's one of my favorites. But I also have a podcast recommendation this week, and that is the Well Read podcast. And they actually recommended a lot more books to me. It's run by two librarians, and they talk about books that they have read, but not only books that they have read. They talk about their book clubs. They also talk about books that they know are coming up, that are on the list to be published in the next 6 months, or due to be coming out in 2026. So they actually had a really cool forecast for good books for 2026. So I'm interested. I have a couple of those things on my TBR pile, my to be read pile. But that's kind of where we are tonight, and where we are in our reading over at Books and Bush Tea. And I have my signature Bush tea. I think today is like, I have some really, really old tea vanity. Please don't judge me. I know they've been closed for a while, but I kept some, and I kind of like freeze dried it and kept it. So I pull it out every once in a while. And tonight I'm just treating myself to some dragon fruit, one of their dragon fruit teas. So tonight we have a really cool couple of guests. And as you know from my teasers, I am super excited to have them. Our first guest tonight is Kyle Creation. He is a San Diego-born, Atlanta-based rapper, singer, songwriter, blending hip-hop, R&B, and alternative soul with sharp intellect and effortless swagger. If you have seen any of his content, you know that this is true. A self-described book nerd with stage presence, his work pulls from Black radical Marxist and feminist traditions while exploring healing, identity, and collective growth. With multiple albums, major writing and production credits, and performances, and he's going to correct me on some of this pronunciation, but performances from Rolling Loud to Hero Day. Is it Hero Day? He's going to tell me. Clay creates music that challenges the mind as much as it moves the body, bringing literature, politics, and sound into one cohesive voice. I have so much fun with his content that I had to reach out to him, because he just feels like one of the crew. Like he belongs in this show. And I'd like to welcome him to the stage. Welcome to Cayman.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm here in Atlanta.
Man, it's great over here.
Are you cold? Is it cold over where you are now?
It's really bipolar. And Georgia can't make up its mind.
Yeah.
At all. Clay, Hiro Day.
Hiro Day.
Yeah, Hiro Day.
That's what it is.
Those are the correct.
So I need to learn about these things, right?
Yes.
But you know what? I actually really like your music, because I feel like you have that. You are not doing that mumble rap that everyone is like they're hiding their lack of original thought behind. Like you're actually not afraid of being heard and understood. So I really like your rap. I've been listening to some of your music this week and putting it out on social media.
Oh, wow. I appreciate that. I grew up in hip hop. Like my dad is like a hip hop savant or whatever. So he just raised me on everything. Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Slick Rick, Tribe Called Quest, Black Sheep, Souls of Mischief, like all that. Just all types of hip hop. And then of course, growing up, I just absorbed all of that. He bought me like a Casio keyboard when I was like 8. And then from there, just kind of up. I was making stuff on it. And then he also had a really big bookshelf, and he told me I could read anything on it and if I had any questions, I could always come to him
Oh
and tell
man.
him. And so all those things kind of just combine into, what you're getting now.
Yeah, and you can hear it. You can actually hear it. And we're gonna talk more about where you started out, because I'm dead curious about it, especially as we get into our conversation about romance.
Yeah,
But
sure.
we also have another guest, and we've been having a great evening already, just chatting in the background. And some of you
Right.
will know this guy. This is our next guest is the co-host of Real Talk Love and Lies, known for his book talk voice, his quick wit, and his thoughts on relationships. Alfred has covered topics like side piece culture, the sweet mouth, particularly of the Jamaican kind, and cheating on Love and Lies, and whether or not you can recover from cheating since its start in December 2025. I'm going to welcome to the stage Mr. Alfred of Love and Lies. And as you can see, he is sharing his avatar photo as he shows up on Love and Lies. Welcome, Alfred. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
All good, all good. We're gonna get into like how you started Love and Lies, and why you wanted to get into the art of seduction, which of course is one of the topics that we're covering tonight. So, Clay, we're gonna talk about you first.
Oh God.
All
right.
So we had a conversation. I don't know where. I think you had posted something about romance novels, and you had read them.
I reacted to your post about romance novels.
Oh, you did? Is that what it was?
Yeah, like you were saying you were curious. I think you just put out a
unicorn,
looking for men who had read romance and their opinions of it. And I was like, I grew up reading a lot of fiction, and my dad's a comic book artist. He has his own comic book company, and so I was reading a lot of comic books, a lot of Tolkien and all this other stuff. We'll get into it, but yeah, I did read some romance novels, and I was like, oh, this would be fun. And, anything that's challenging to me, anything that's make me philosophically think about it until I'm sweaty, I'm gonna pick that.
Yeah. And this is an uncomfortable one, right? Because I think I know a few guys over here that have read romance in the past, but particularly, and I was very, very clear, I wanted it to be a straight guy. I want to hear, oh my goodness, we have comments. Alfred Bumbleclot. Why? Yes, I somehow got him out of hiding for this show. This is gonna be great. We always thought that he only comes out at 10 o'clock, but he can show up at 8. So you got into romance, but it sounds like you had a really open permission to read, right? So anything you got your hands on, you would read.
So with my dad, yeah. And it was similar with my mom too. And my mom is kind of my gateway to the romance novels. Both my parents are educators. So with my mom, she had all the trashy Fabio-esque romance novels, and I was I don't know, I was a kid growing up, early 2000s and stuff. It's still not a lot of things to do, and I was hungry for books all the time. So my mom had some books, and I was like, okay, let me check out these romance novels with these shirtless white men riding horses or holding a sword or something. And I was like, okay, cool. And then I would read them. And they all followed the same formula of
that's the thing with them. I found so I used to do the same thing. And I remember you saying when we were chatting before that you grew up without really watching a lot of TV, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have TV at home. We didn't have cable TV until I was in my late teens. I was almost out of the house. And so I would read whatever was in the house, but then my aunt used to read those trashy, what was it? Mills and Boone,
Harlequin, Danielle Steele.
Yeah. All of Danielle Steele was clean compared. Mills, and then there was also this, I can remember some of the Oh my gosh. Some of them, I can remember some of the names of the authors. And when they come to me, I'll tell you. But yeah, it's like those Fabio. They were long hair. There's in the 90s. All the men had long hair.
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It was like
and
all
they
the way
shirtless, long hair, like
big
windswept.
hair too, like
Yeah. And they were always leaning down on the woman and.
Yeah, it's always like that. It's always like they're like like some He-Man. They're like holding a sword or something. There's like a woman laid around them and stuff like that. It's like an aspirational patriarch. It's like it's a desirable patriarch. You know?
Yeah, it's like it's consented to, right?
Yeah. But it's the type of it's a romanticized patriarchy for women.
Yeah. And I hadn't really thought about it until you actually discussed. We were talking about it. I hadn't seen the tropes through that lens, because there are those tropes, right? Like and romance in those days in the 90s. And don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about how it evolved into what it is today. Like the romance that my mom and my aunt and that generation would have read would have been relatively closed door compared to what you see out there today. Like Akotar, when you have like 10 pages of one sex scene, and it's like it's super erotic, and it's like they're using words like they're using more graphic language, like street language, right? I blushed. Like it's so funny, because then I realized what a prude I might be now, because I am now the older person looking at these books and thinking, "Woo, that's
the Zanes of the world." Yeah.
The Resands and the Zanes, yes. And they're like, and then of course they're getting bigger and bigger and more. And now we're excusing their behavior and their patriarchal behavior by making them non-human. And so they're driven, right? They're driven by fey nature, and or whatever it is that's about them that's different, right?
They're demons, they're elves, they're dark elves.
So they can get away with things that we don't let men get away with. That's what I think. But they were, let's talk about some of those tropes, because I feel like the old stuff is like, she's always, well, what do you see? Like, what did you see was the cookie cutter type pattern that you saw?
What I saw, it's almost like a Taming of the Shrew type thing, where it's the Beauty and the Beast archetype, where it's like Beauty and the Beast is actually like a negging story. Like Belle, it's Belle. She reads. She's strong-willed, and like in order for Belle to tame this beast, Belle has to kind of actually come down a little bit. But it's okay that she comes down, because the beast becomes this loving patriarch, and that's usually like the formula. Like they meet some cowboy, or they meet a prince, or like some male with some form of like social power, or some classical patriarch archetype, and they are strong-willed women. And it's like by the end of it, they have to bring themselves down, but it's okay that they brought themselves down, because this very sweet patriarch now will take care of them. They don't have to be strong-willed anymore. And that's like what I've gathered from most of those stories.
But then they also have like this other trope, right? Which is like the Mr. Darcy on, like he's unlovable, he's hard, but he softens for her.
The Sound of Music, the Sound of Music type of thing, where then there's like the other one. She comes, he's a hard ass. He's a military dude, or war.
He's violent in some way, right? And off-putting in his violence in some way, right?
Either way, though, she still softens so that he can like be a good patriarch. Like she can rest in her femininity truly, like by the end of that.
But it's so funny, because you see that as a reduction. And I'm actually seeing this thing, right? Because you talk about them reducing and making themselves small, whereas you're hearing all of this language right now about the soft life, the girls that were growing up in this, hard feminist, like very overpowering, and their masculine is the language that they use, right? But and then they get permission, and I'm noticing this in myself as I get older, where I have been like this super hardcore career woman, and and then I bump into I get to this place where I'm like, you know what, maybe this is not the life I want. Maybe I want a soft life, right? And of course there's a lot of writing around this now, in nonfiction spaces, where it's like, if a man shows up in his masculine and it's not toxic, which is such a weird line to draw, like what does that even mean? And I want to hear your thoughts on this, because this is
Mm-hmm.
If a man shows up in his masculine, then a woman has permission to be soft.
So first of all of that is just relative to your culture, to your whatever. I don't do a lot of like dating content, but for the dating content, the relationship content, and gender war content I do, it's really, this is all about capitalism, and this is all about the pressures of late stage capitalism just on us, including how late stage capitalism affects gender roles. It's not that like you want an escape from like necessarily like it's like the level at which capitalism is like literally destroying your body, and the level of labor you have to get. And due to our grandmothers not being able to even have bank accounts, right? Some of that is still rooted in, well, if you want an escape from the effects of late stage capitalism, you need to find a man.
Yeah.
And it's really that. It's not that you need to live in your femininity or anything. It's just capitalism sucks, and living under
but you talked about this earlier too, like this whole male loneliness epidemic. I love your response to that, because, and this is where I feel like romance novels actually have some value. So I have a theory, and I want to throw it at you, and you tell me what you think of it, because I think that there's some power to this, right? So the thought that I have, and I just got kind of swayed as well, because there's almost like a Taylor Swift type of romance novel. Like that book talk, easily palatable, annoying teenage white girl trope. And you're yelling at her throughout the whole book because she's making all the wrong decisions. And so there's almost like that I don't find relatable personally, right? But then you have some of these then you're starting to see some of the development from that cookie cutter Mills and Boone silhouette, I think was another one. Those like that used to get in the pharmacy, in the pharmacy magazine.
Silhouette, yeah.
They're down at the lowest shelf.
By the cards and the glasses, the eating glass.
I always see them as like the pharmacy romance novels. We've come a long way from that now, and we are actually, I find that women are living out their secret fantasies and their guilty pleasures through the erotica in books and stuff. But where was I going with this? So my theory is this, and it ties to your conversation around your response to the male loneliness epidemic. Women, I believe, are living a secret life in their reading. I think we all do. We live a secret life in our reading, right? We all do. It's intimate, it's inside our heads. No one knows anything about it from the time we learn to read without reading out loud. But what we're finding is popular books are telling us a lot about the position that women find themselves in society. And one of the things that I'm finding is that women are actually have become far more sexually liberal than we would have been expected to be, number one.
Mhm.
Number two, I think there's also a diversity in the form of relationship that women are willing to accept. Probably not in real life, but in theory. I think that there is also a language that attracts women that I think speaks to what you were creating in your content. It was like, show up and listen, right? Show up and listen. Just like be a dude. Like you're not having trouble attracting female attention. You know, people are reacting to your straightforward, like nerdy content, like it's a thirst trap.
I know how. So through being in community with women, I found out how to kind of just shut up and be cute sometimes. Um, uh, I've
Often
learned
heard that.
sometimes the most attractive thing that a man can do is shut up and just be, and it's worked for me. It's worked for me
Shut
for
up
a
and
long
be
time.
cute.
Yeah, I'll go
It's that
somewhere.
mystery, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
like,
so not wrong. There's some guys that, oh my gosh, that they open their mouths and they alienate you instantly.
I go to a room, right? Or I go to a party or I go somewhere. There's a bunch of women having like a political conversation, a philosophical conversation. I have, uh, I've, I guess, educated myself out of the masculine urge to insert myself into a bunch of women's conversation, right? And I will go and I'll sit and I do this crazy, insane thing where I just listen to women talk without interrupting. And it gets me far. It gets me far. Yeah. Yeah. So
That
I
reminds
encourage.
me of that guy on have you seen that new show, that new Netflix special, the guy Hernandez? Oh my gosh, what's his first name? The Cuban American guy from Saturday Night Live. And he was like saying Marcelo Hernandez.
Hernandez.
He's like, you know what? They're trying to figure out how this ugly guy ended up with this beautiful girl, and they're like, I want, you know, he must have a lot of money. He's like, no, he has follow-up questions.
Yeah, man. Yeah, men do this thing where they'll see a group of women talking about politics, philosophy, some sort of like actually like intellectual conversation. And
Mhm.
like we just have this urge of like, well, I'm a man and I should be heard and I should insert myself in this conversation. And I've kind of learned to just like, no, this is a good conversation all by itself. I'll sit and shut up.
Mhm.
And unless somebody asks me to join, then I'll join. So
You know, you
that's
make a good point, because I'm thinking a lot of those shadow daddies do this in the like in Akotar,
mm-hmm.
um, and Fourth Wing. Oh my goodness, Zayden from Fourth Wing, definitely like the strong silent type. Oh, the strong silent type trope is big now. Like,
Yeah.
you know, they loved it when men used to talk a lot in like the 90s, but
Yeah.
now in romance novels today they're really quiet.
Yeah.
And so
Well,
when they speak, you listen. You know.
so I think going into like how sexual, like just flat like smut and stuff like that,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think women need men less financially, right? And with that, I get this sentiment from a lot of my women friends or just women I'm in community with, where it's like, well, men aren't emotionally intelligent. A lot of times when they talk, it's something stupid. It's from the manosphere. It's some red pill stuff. It's
Mm-hmm.
dumb. The only thing that they are good for, you know what I'm saying? Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I think
That's the only
society.
thing they can give me that I can't give myself.
Right. And so when I've read, like I have some friends that write smut and stuff like that. And when I
Mm-hmm.
read their stuff, it's usually like this guy or creature or whatever is shuts up and he just
Mm-hmm.
lets me do my thing. And it's kind of like that might be the current fantasy for women right now. I have my own money.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do talk, you're stupid. But I'm attracted to you. So just do that. And that's where it's moving to.
I'm loving where we're going with this. We're just going to take a quick break and come right back. This Valentine, trust your lady's pleasure to the people who understand the connection between the perfectly fitted bra and the crystals we put inside them. Vi's Closet voted Best in K-Man for 2025. So let's talk about the tropes within what has it taught you about how women see themselves in the world within the romance sphere? What have you seen?
Reading those books in like the late 90s, early 2000s taught me that women view themselves as like capable. They view themselves as capable of being independent, smart, like it's just that from reading those novels as a kid and then being an adult and kind of rethinking about the messages in them, it's kind of taught me I felt like women back then probably felt like they could have all of those qualities, but they're still at some point going to hit this wall.
Yeah.
Society. And it's just like this lived reality that I have to eventually attach myself to a man in some way, shape, or form. But like, I'm still capable of possibly living without this man. But it was like having a man was like this necessity. And I was saying earlier where you're like, oh, that's interesting. You view it as like a dumbing down or lessening yourself. And I feel like the reason why I felt like that is because I kind of had an unorthodox, or maybe not unorthodox, like growing up as a kid in like the late 90s, early 2000s, I had so many fictional female characters that were that were badasses. Like, I grew up reading Wonder Woman, watching Kim Possible, watching Mulan. You know what I'm saying? Watching like all of the Ultraviolet, the Resident Evil movies, like Angelina Jolie, like Wanted, all this stuff. I grew up. So to me, when I was reading those novels, I was kind of like, oh, this woman was dope until she meets this dude. Like, that's kind of how I viewed it. Now, maybe it's like not that way, but just for me growing up with the type of media I had and watching Aeon Flux and stuff like that, or Sailor Moon.
Yeah, Xena.
Or
you remember Xena?
Yeah, of course, like Xena and stuff. And I'm kind of just like, well, dang, man, I kind of grew up with a lot of cool, independent female characters. And so when I'm reading those novels and I'm kind of absorbing the formula, I'm kind of like, oh, this lady was kind of cool before she met this.
But there's a weirdness to it too. Like there's a I'm noticing now that there's been a change in it too, right? Because there's so many of the romance novels ended in pregnancy.
Yeah.
So many of them ended in pregnancy. And I used to find that so cloying, right? But I also wonder, right, if there's because there's a baby fever thing that happens to women in their like mid 30s if they haven't had kids, where it's like, maybe I should do this thing now, before and it becomes a little bit like a compulsion. And they call it, what do they call it? The biological imperative. That's a real thing, in my opinion. I believe that's a real thing. However, you're seeing society overcome that with what you might be onto something with the late stage capitalism piece, where you're even seeing in novels where like the book that I'm reading right now, it's not even really a romance, but I guess it probably is. It's a fantasy. And she's already decided she's never having kids. And that from like the first three pages. Like the permission to not have kids.
Mm-hmm.
and the alternative lifestyles that are being permitted. And I mean, so Sarah J. Maas disappointed me a little bit in ACOTAR. I don't know why. I can't finish ACOTAR, right? I can't finish it. But I love the Throne of Glass series. And I realized what made me love the Throne of Glass series is that, first of all, it wasn't smutty, right? There is probably like a scene in like the 4th book. But and that's not something that would turn me off of a book generally, because it didn't turn me off of Fourth Wing. I love Fourth Wing. But the character, the female main character, was truly a main character. She was not defined by her relationships. The first guy she was with disappointed her and she went apeshit on him. And then she turned, like it was never, the relationships weren't centered, the center point. Whereas the point of these books was the relationship, right?
Yeah.
You're finding that romance has to have more of a point to it. There has to be more of a story. There has to be more context in books these days than what was popular back in the 90s.
Yeah, there has to be a story.
Yeah. I mean, even porn has to have a story these days. No, had to have a story back. I think that's reverse. Porn used to have a story back in the day, and now it no longer has a story.
That's because of Twitter. I was gonna say,
or Pornhub. I mean,
Pornhub, but well, I was gonna say, I just think women's values have changed, and women are becoming less male centered, and with that, fiction is a window into like the author and those who enjoy it. And I think it's just a reflection of how women are feeling. It's, if there is a male character that they're with in the beginning, if he messes up, then he messes up, and it's like, okay, bye, on to the next. Which
that just never used to happen.
Right. You meet that one guy, and then it's just that.
Yeah.
I also feel like there's a generation of girls who read like Twilight, loved it when they were little girls, grew up, learned how like toxic it was, and then like now started writing basically against that.
Reactionary.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. It's all very reactionary, and it's a reaction to the over sexualization of like women in society. Okay, cool. We're gonna slut out these men in these novels and let them know that, hey, this is kind of what you're here,
Yeah, I did not think of that.
Yeah,
but you're right. There's a power of writing a man into such a sexualized position. So it's almost like you're creating the power that you have in real life, and you're also creating. And they always talk about like idealizing book boyfriends, right? Book boyfriends being idealized, and just having them be like. I don't think the book boyfriend, so unpopular opinion, I don't think the book boyfriend is truly an idealization. I don't think that this is what women want in their real lives. I think this is a place they want to visit and come back.
Yeah, it's like pornography, like the pornography that you consume. A lot of times is like a fantasy that you would never do, but you want to visit it and enjoy it in that moment, and then you like, oh, I'd never do this in real life.
Right? There's almost like a voyeurism to it that isn't really. It's not necessarily their desire. What do you think of that, Alfred? Because you sound like you have an opinion on that one.
I think you want that opinion. You're gonna have to tune in tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Oh, really? Is that what you're doing? You're stealing my ideas? I'm gonna have to talk to Matilda.
That's good branding.
He's good, isn't he? He's very good.
He's great at that.
Yeah. And there's something that I actually don't think, because I look at I have a friend who's very close to me who's coming on next week to talk about like the erotic stuff, right? I have two girls coming in, and we're gonna talk romantasy and hardcore romantasy, because some of them are like, if there's no spice, I don't want it. right? And it's going to be a fun conversation because I really want to question that. I really want to question, what does this mean about women, right?
I think I was going to say, I think women don't feel safe enough to express themselves fully sexually with the men in like real life. So um, it's almost like a sexual catharsis, like in either writing it or creating it. There is this male character that you feel fully sexually comfortable with and safe with, and you can just fully express that.
And surrender to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So with this knowledge, what do you do as a man in the world?
Yeah, like what can you learn from these romance novels from a women's or from a woman's perspective? Um, number one, I think the number one, I think it depends on which novels it is.
Mm-hmm.
But number two, like I think it takes a certain there's going to be a need for a certain level of emotional intelligence to like consume these romance novels and kind of get the gist of what is like an extreme fantasy
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like look under, like catch the subtext of what women want.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to weigh in on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, because I was listening to you talk, Clay,
Hmm.
and and you too, Aniki, and I'm getting because I'm not a fiction reader at all. Well, I'll indulge. I'll dabble. But from what I'm getting from both of you, it's that the whole romantasy, it gives women that desire without punishment, because for so
Yeah.
long, women's desires have been, moralized and policed and, pathologized, and, it the romantasy the desire is central, and the longing is, rewarded. It's not punished.
Mm-hmm.
And the female pleasure is the plot. It's not the side effect.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I can only surmise, when you were talking about book boyfriends earlier, is that a lot of these men, and yes, I'm guilty of reading some of those Harlequin books. I used to pull them off my mother's. I mean, I used to skip to the good bits, but
I think we all did that as teenagers.
but reflecting on it now and talking to both of you, I think what people often miss is that these fantasy men, they're not just physically powerful, is that they're emotionally obsessed, because it's like, they notice her internal world, and they remember details about her, and there's this sort of protection of her agency, and they choose her over and over again. And it's like, I think it says a lot about women wanting that focus and that attunement, and like that reliability that's wrapped in that intensity.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's never them like taming the main female character. It's always them adjusting to her like strengths in a certain type of way. And that is some like I I gathered that women want to be able to show up. The fantasy is in showing up fully as yourself, and a man adjusting to that instead of the other way around.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I just wanted to ask you: do you think that the fantasy exaggerates that to clarify the feelings instead of prescribing behavior? Because I heard what you said about porn. It's I want to visit that world, but I don't necessarily want to live in it. I want to live it. I want to visit it and come back. Do you think that is it allows you? It's almost like a catharsis. It allows you to clarify your feelings.
Yeah, because I think it's like for them. So a lot of women that read these novels have partners.
Yeah.
Already, you know what I'm saying? So I think for the women that like have partners, they read it and it's like, oh, my husband isn't like this, or my boyfriend isn't like this, but man, it will be so great. So that they read it and they just get this like, oof, wow, that's great.
I'll
I don't
tell you
know
why I laugh.
if it exists out there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's like, oof, this is great to read, you know.
Aniki.
And they chose their partner for another reason. I go once I don't want to lose this thought, but I have one of the things that women with partners, and you're seeing this as a trend throughout book talk, you're seeing it all over Instagram, is that they're actually getting their partners to act out scenes. Right? So you're getting them to act out scenes.
Role play.
Or descriptions of the way the partner looks at them. And it's a comedic thing on social media, but it's almost like a training. And I feel like there's a training in seduction in particular. I'm so sorry, the dog is snoring. I did want to get what happened. Can you?
No, you're fine. I barely even noticed.
But so yeah, there's that. So there's like this scene where she reads it to him. She reads it to her partner, and then she stands up against a door frame, and her partner leans over her on the door frame in the way that it was described in the scene. And you're seeing them like dissolve into like giggles, but then you know something is like that just spiced up their life. I find that women are leading in having their desires met in these conversations that these books are giving them access to. And I feel like some of the erotica in the books is starting to give them language around something, and probably even seeing the possibility of something that we weren't even given permission to do. It's been taboo for women to watch porn, right? It was, but we're two generations of like, you know that song "Baby It's Cold Outside" that has gotten a lot of flack and cancellation over the last couple of years?
Yeah.
It cracks me up because it's been described as a rape song. But the truth is, I don't think that's what that is. I look back on it, I'm like, you have to remember, women weren't permitted to have affairs. Women were not permitted to say yes.
Yeah.
So you had to say yes through no if you really wanted to say yes. And so if we're coming from that generation all the way to this place now where women are like, no, this is what I want you to do. Let me show you. To actually have that agency in relationship to describe how you want to be seduced, having come from 2 generations ago, not being able to have permission to have that kind of pleasure it's huge. It's huge. And I feel like romance novels have done that for us. Like they've done that for us. They've given us that.
Yeah, so I that's interesting. Yeah, like giving women scenarios in language to like explain to the ones that do have partners.
Yeah.
So it's like for the ones that don't have partners, it's, ooh, I would love this. And then for the ones that do, it's like, this is an instruction manual to me. Let me go ahead and tell this guy, hey, this is
I mean, he's already here. Let's try it.
Right.
I think it says about women is that women want complexity, right? And from what I'm gathering about a lot of these romantic characters is that they often hold two contradictions. So the man is gentle and feral at the same time, and he's powerful and vulnerable.
Because there's still,
it shows I think it reflects a desire for layered masculinity and not these caricatures that men often get lost into. So
yeah. Sorry, not to cut you off. Sorry.
I was just saying that it shows that women are drawn to men who can hold that intensity without losing control.
Yeah, I was gonna say, women are still socialized to like these traditionally like masculine things, but also internally like what they want. They're like, yeah, I want that, but I want you to be emotionally intelligent as well. Like, I want you to be able to go and like unalive somebody for me, but at the same time, like come back to me and like, hug me and give me a kiss on the forehead. Like, stuff like that. Like,
and have the feelings and the remorse. so that I can comfort you, so we can partner through this life. Like actually have chinks in your armor, like a real person, so that there's space for me.
I'd like to ask Clay. I mean, because there are a lot of men who dismiss these fantasies. What do you think it says about the men who dismiss these fantasies?
I think it's I think they know that they're not like capable of performing that. And like that's where it comes from. Like it's the same way like dudes will see a dude do something nice for like their female partner on social media and so be like, oh man, that's not he he a simp. It's like, well, he knows that he's maybe not emotionally, financially, or spiritually capable of like doing that thing. So coming from the man's world, like I've even felt those feelings before pre my, unbrainwashing or whatever. And yeah, that's what it's rooted in. Like I can't do that. There's something in me.
Big fantasy for expectation.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna dismiss it. Oh, women are crazy for wanting that. That's too big of an ask to want. That's insane. We're really no. If you could do it, you would do it.
But it also tells me that men are still performing for men.
Always.
And then they're complaining when women aren't seduced.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole world around the red pill content and the incel movements and the all of this male loneliness stuff, and I feel like there's a missed opportunity in romance novels for men to actually understand how to get that need met, rather than listen to Andrew Tate and learn how to rape.
Yeah.
And I've said that word too many times.
Seduction by its nature lives in suggestion and symbolism and feeling, right? So I mean, if men who dismiss these fantasies, they tend to overvalue this realism and they really undervalue imagination, and they miss how desire actually works, And I loved what Clay said about stepping into this world but not wanting to live in it. It's like, okay, I want to experience this fantasy in my head, but it doesn't mean that I want to live there, And I think men who dismiss it, they just miss how desire actually works.
I think I think society is so misogynistic that number one, it's not cool for women to like you. And like, just stick with me here. Like, early on, I got this thing of like, oh, you're pandering, like, want women to like you, and like, if mainly women like you, then like you're lame. And it's like, well, I thought we were straight. I wanted the women to like us, and it's this. It's rooted in so much misogyny that it's almost like homo romantic, where it's like no, like I want my boys to like I want to get this girl so that my boys are like happy for me, so that they're envious of me. Like I need their approval. I want their approval. Like it's weird for majority women to like me because women are lame, and I just need the boys to love me. And I'm like, oh yeah, it's so misogynistic that it's homo romantic.
Yeah.
That's where we're at in society right now.
And moving toward the male gaze in that way also is setting up men for not having authentic relationships, so that they're performing for each other rather than showing up and being having permission to be vulnerable with each other and heal together. So so misogyny, what I'm hearing from this conversation that I really need to spend some time thinking about a little bit more is that yes, we know this in the abstract, but I'm actually seeing the threads now, is that misogyny actually harms everyone. It not only harms the woman who is demeaned by it, but also the man who is dehumanizing himself by it.
Right,
I mean,
but then
he is the product of a woman, so.
but blaming women for that. It's men suffering from patriarchy,
Mm-hmm.
like still blaming women for it.
Blaming
Like,
women for it.
you guys want this from us. Like I gotta perform masculinity and patriarchy for you. And women are like, we've been telling you guys for like centuries, we don't like it. We don't.
Yeah.
Like, we don't. We don't want it. It's weird. It's weird.
But it's also we're so blessed to be living in a time where women not wanting something matters.
Wow. Yeah.
It
For the
didn't matter in the past because women were dependent,
Yeah.
And I love the way Howard Zinn talks about it. He calls them the intimately oppressed. I had never thought of it before in that way, but he talks about the isolation of women because we in those times we were living with the oppressor and separated from each other, from community. We were separated by our houses. So we didn't have the unifying opportunity to revolutionize in the same way that, say, the Black community did, or the Native American community did, or the LGBTQ community even. So there was a isolation that comes with that quite unique form of oppression.
Wow. I didn't think about that. But yeah, that's 100% true. It's like if you were like a housewife in the 50s, you stayed in your house and you cleaned and you were on a lot of drugs. Your homegirl could come over, right? And you could kind of talk to her, but it's like how many of the women were like community, like you could all collectively come together. Just like when I watch I Love Lucy and like all these old shows and stuff, it's just like, oh, that's the neighbor. And you just have that neighbor to kind of sit there and stare at each other and be like, well, Howard doesn't beat me, and that's good.
Praise God.
Yeah, wow, he's such a good man. Like, I didn't think about it like that, but that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, guys, we have a couple of minutes for final thoughts. This has been really good. I wish we could do this for 2 hours.
Right.
Go, Clay, you first.
My final thoughts are, I guess I'll speak to them in a little bit. Read these things. Read them, and women are people. Women are humans, and women like things. Women like sex. Women like desire. Women like romance. Read these things and observe what women want, and you'll be. Yeah.
So Clay, as somebody who's not really into fiction, but would like to get into fiction, and since we're talking about romantasy and read these things, what book would you recommend for me to pick up and read first?
As far as fiction?
Yeah, in the romantasy space.
I think you're gonna have to ask me for that one.
Yeah, I'm actually not a big romantic. Like all this stuff is informed on stuff I read when I was a kid because
old reading.
Okay.
But on fiction,
I got you though.
Yeah, I got you on fiction, bro. Shoot. I grew up reading Tolkien, and a lot of graphic novels, comic books. X-Men, God Loves, Man Kills is actually about systemic racism and how legislation from Washington can be some of the most violent people of color or queer people or whoever can face. Books like Watchmen, V for Vendetta. I also recommend Dune. Dune talks about
that's a good one.
And then
it's very deep.
and the dangers of dogma and religion. So man, if you want to reach out to me, I'll shoot you a lot of stuff.
Okay.
My final thoughts, Alfred, I think we're going to have your final thoughts tomorrow night, if that's okay with you.
Fine with me.
My final thoughts is that I'm so grateful for this conversation and for the evidence of the evolution of what women want. And not to give this is a bit of a shameless plug, but Vi's Closet, who is our sponsor for this show, is one of those places that I am so proud exists, because they actually have given women permission to have desires, and not only have desires, but actually explore and experiment through lingerie, through toys, and also inviting men into that space as well. Like it was one of those safe places where you can actually go as a couple and actually enjoy your exploration of the kind of things that we're talking about here. But I love that romance novels get to document that progress. And I think I would repeat what Clay is saying, which is that actually, if your goal is to solve your loneliness, yes, build your relationships with other men, which we're going to talk about another time. But this is a roadmap. Like, this is the kind of stuff that if you read it, you learn a lot, even if it's not stuff that you necessarily like. It's going to educate you on what women really want. This has been Books and Bush Tea. It's been awesome. I'm so glad that you were here, and we are going to be in touch. We're going to probably have you back, Clay, if you're up for it.
I love it here.
Yeah, we're having a great time. And Alfred, I'm going to definitely listen to you tomorrow. But have a lovely, lovely night.
All right. Good night.
Good night, Cayman.
Good night.